Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Live with me, Efwa Tieku. The headlines this afternoon. Tension mounts between Ghanaian and Nigerian spare parts dealers in Kumasi. 3 soldiers on Operation Vanguard arrested for allegedly extorting money from illegal miners. And on the foreign front, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy forced out of office by a no-confidence vote in Parliament. We have details of these and more coming up in the next 1 hour, so do stay with us. Now on to our very first story. And scores of clients besieged the offices of the Registrar General's Department in Accra to file their annual tax returns at the last day of the month. But the Registrar General's Department says it will not extend the date if they fail to honor their obligations before the close of the day, Thursday, May 31.
The main entrance to the Registrar General's Department was an eyesore. Inside the hall was densely populated with clients ready to file their annual tax returns. Some clients formed long queues awaiting on the staff to serve them. Faces of others who could not stand in the queue appeared frustrated and dejected. Many also thronged the counter of the banking hall to honor payment of their taxes. Public Relations Officer of the Registrar General's Department, Constance Techi, said the department will not extend the dates of registration.
The law gives them up to 31st December, but because of the issue of audited accounts, we gave them 4 more months to be able to sort out the issue of audited accounts with their auditing firms, and by that time they should have been able to do it. Even when it was 30th, we still gave 1 more month. So I think that the Registrar General has been very generous to the public.
She insisted that those who would fail to file their returns after May 31 will be surcharged.
The penalty does not apply to sole proprietors or the one-man businesses. They are not supposed to pay for any penalty. Penalties, however, apply to limited by shares and the limited by guarantee companies. So they are going to pay the 350 cedis after today's deadline. In addition to the mandatory statutory fees that they have to pay, which is 50 cedis for each year that they are in default. So those in the queue that are sole proprietors, they can go home and come back another time and come and pay.
But the frustrated clients criticized the Registrar General's Department for lack of promptness.
Since they said they've moved digital, everything could be done online. Even if the payment could be by mobile money, it would have saved us a lot of time. People have to travel all the way from different places just to come and do very simple things here, which is not the best.
But you had from January to have done that, so why did you...
Me, I've been coming every time. Every time you come and meet a lot of people. I think today is even better. So there is no day that is so free that if you come in, you can easily do it and go.
Why then did you wait till the last day?
Yes, you know, Ghanaians, sometimes we like the last minute, but with me, we are from an auditing firm, so we're filing for our clients. So if the clients don't give you the money to come and do it, you can't do it on your own.
Already, some experts have proposed alternative measure to facilitate the payment of tax returns. Vice President Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia has directed the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Registrar General's Department for them to develop an app and facilitate the payment of tax returns. But how are these institutions facilitating and collaborating to get the app rolled out?
We have already sent the company's bill to Cabinet for consideration. So when it moves to Parliament and the bill is finally passed, and then the other halves are taking off, like the issue of marriage and industrial properties are, and then this place becomes like the business registry or the company's registry. All those things will certainly come to forth.
The clients are expected to also renew certificates of their businesses, including the filing of their taxes.
Now, 50 suspected illegal immigrants, mostly Nigerians, including a female, have been rounded up by the Intelligence Directorate of the Ghana Police Service at Gomua Budumburam. 46 laptops, mobile phones and assorted electronic gadgets were also retrieved. The suspects were believed to have been engaged in various criminal acts, including cyber-related crimes and robberies.
The Thursday morning swoop was as a result of weeks of intelligence gathering on crime trends in and around Kaswa and its environs. The suspected foreign nationals, the police alleged, have rented several apartments in the area from where they plan and launch their activities. They are also to be investigated for resident permit and other travel violations. Personnel from the Police Intelligence Directorate swooped at the targeted areas in Gumwa Budumburam around 9 a.m. About 20 suspects were rounded up in the first apartment, which is a two-bedroom facility. Most of the suspects were reportedly busy working on their laptops whilst others were sleeping. By the end of the swoop, 3 of such facilities were stormed and the 50 suspects, including a female, were rounded up. 46 laptops, 25 mobile phones and assorted electronic gadgets were also retrieved from the suspects. The exhibit are to be referred to the Cyber Crimes Unit of the Police CID for further investigations. The suspects are being screened for varying criminal offences, including cyber-related crimes and robberies, after which they will be handed over to the Immigration Service for resident status investigations.
With the exercise we conducted about almost 2 weeks ago, at least the people in Kaswa and its environs are seeing some relative peace in terms of street robberies. Attack on them in the night, residential robberies have also reduced considerably in this community. So we sustain this fight against people who go out in the night. In the daytime, they are always resting and only to come out and then to commit crime.
Meanwhile, 21 out of the 46 suspected foreign nationals were rounded up in similar exercises 2 weeks ago at English and Manfrum are to be repatriated by the Immigration Service for illegal migration.
Well, meanwhile, the police administration has confirmed the repatriation of the 46th Formed Police Unit FPU contingent on peacekeeping operations in Bentiu, South Sudan to Ghana. A statement signed on behalf of the Director General of Police Public Affairs Directorate, ACP David Eklu, by Chief Inspector Richmond Mensah indicated all members of the contingent have returned to post. The 46 personnel were repatriated on administrative grounds as per the United Nations rules and regulations and have resumed normal policing operations as they await the full investigative report from the United Nations for further action. It will be recalled that on Friday, February 25, the Police Public Affairs Directorate issued a release confirming a report of the alleged involvement of some members of the FPU on peacekeeping mission in South Sudan in sexual exploitation and abuse. I've been joined in the studio by Adam Bona. He is a security analyst to help us look at this issue of these repatriated police officers. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Bona.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Right. Now, it does seem a bit odd to me that pending the final conclusion of these investigations, these officers have been asked to resume work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, good afternoon to your cherished viewers. I would want to congratulate the COP or the Intelligence Directorate's boss. It looks like they are doing a lot by catching most of these bad people who were hitherto, robbing us.
Right.
I think they need to put in a measure to make sure before you rent a facility to someone who doesn't have a permit, you should make sure they have, a residence permit.
Right.
They should make it illegal to do that. But going back to your question, it is not entirely right that they've been sent back to their post. I am yet to read the press release. That I'm yet to see it,
right,
and probably try to digest it. But it is not entirely true.
But what is standard practice, really?
The standard practice is at the moment ongoing. I've done some checks. It is an administrative, what do you call it, repatriation. What it means is that they have not been found guilty, and per the UN's own standard practice, such incidents you would have to be, administratively brought back till, final investigations are concluded. And as we speak, the officers, the 46 of them, are undergoing debriefing. And so I am a bit surprised you have a press release that says that they've been sent to. That would have been odd, because they would have to debrief them. But I must be quick to also add that the UN, even though some of our personnel are being investigated for one reason or the other, has also requested for a contingent of Ghana police officers, foreign police unit, to be sent to the same area. And so let's not probably, conclude by saying they are guilty until a final determination has been done. And also, with regards to, what do you call it, UN itself and its peacekeeping operation, it's highly political. I don't know whether our viewers and yourself, you are aware of it, because you have nations fighting for, their personnel to be sent. So it's highly political. So I think it might have been some political tones that is taking place there. And so let's not conclude by saying they are guilty already before the UN. But
doesn't this really compromise the investigation a bit? Because I'm sure Ghana police also would have or would be conducting investigations.
Yes, when the incident happened, if you quite remember, I think a month or 2 months ago, the IGP and his lieutenants asked the UN to grant them permission to send 3 of their personnel to the area, South Sudan, and they were permitted. And 3 officers went back. They came back. And if you remember, the Director General of PIPS, COP, what's his name, Kofi Boakye, recently came out to say their report is ready, but it would have been a bit...
So does that suggest that then it means that they probably found nothing until what happened?
No, their report is ready.
The reason why they are back to work?
Their report is ready, but at that point, their employer is the UN, and so you would wait for the employer's report to be ready, then you compare with yours and see whether the findings you have is entirely accurate.
What I'm trying to ask is that once they have been asked to go back to work, does that suggest that the police service has found that nothing until what happened in South Sudan?
Oh no, they haven't been. They haven't been asked to go back to work. So the press release you have, I mean, my own checks whilst on my way to this place, they are undergoing debriefing. And just like I said, it would have been odd for them to arrive and then almost immediately from the airport or from Accra.
But it said they have been asked to resume normal operational duties. That's what it says.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this information, I haven't read it, but I've checked from the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Police Service. I mean, I've checked with a couple of them to be sure that the information, is right. And so as far as, I know, they are at the moment undergoing the briefing. As we speak, they're undergoing the briefing. They need to debrief them, know, what brought, they need to get a lot of information from them. And so let's hold.
Now, finally on this, how do you think that this issue should be handled? As seen at the end of the day, but the public should know exactly what happened and the outcome of it, as in if any sanctions would be preferred against them.
I think how this issue should be handled depends largely on the UN. Right. And the UN is very guilty of being slow when it comes to investigating issues like this. Because if the UN is alleging, because at the moment the UN is alleging, who alleges, you have to prove. And so let's wait. As a nation, remember, if one single police officer is found guilty, it is the entire nation that her name has been brought to disrepute. And so let's not allow, let's urge the UN. They have an office here, they are, wherever they are, we urge them to produce the evidence. Once the evidence is there, then probably we'll look at it. But let's not be quick to say our own people are guilty when the UN itself that alleged has not proven that these people are guilty. So for me, I wouldn't want to say the standard practice is for the UN to prove that they are guilty. But at the moment, as usual with the UN, they are not so swift. When if you know how Uganda happened, the issues would take place before they. And so I'm using your medium to ask the UN to, help, bring the facts out. Yes.
Right. Now, Mr. Abona, hold on for me. Let's listen to what the police has to say on this issue.
We will not hesitate to inform you of the results. But meanwhile, we are still in South Sudan.
It therefore baffles many as to what has triggered the repatriation in less than a week after the assurance.
Mr. Abona, back to the issue of PEPs. Sometimes these issues come up. In 2017, about 1,500 of them were reported also or so to PIPs.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm not sure we've heard anything on the outcomes of some of these investigations.
Well, I think we would urge PIPs because they owe us that duty.
They do.
To you know, quickly let us know how they investigate one of their own.
That's right.
We know some of them have been sent to jail, some have been dismissed. But if you have 1,500 police officers, you know, suspected to have committed one minor crime or one serious crime or the other, and how many of them have been found guilty, we need to know. The public need to know, because confidence, to be able to, you know, ensure that the confidence level within the, you know, the general public is up when it comes to the police service. The police PIPs should be able to give us, you know, real-time information as to how they are dealing with this. Sometimes some of these people might have been punished or nothing at all, but we never get to know. Right. And this fuels the speculation. And so I would urge, you know, the Director General of, you know, PIPs and his people to speedily give us information with regards to, you know, how some of these officers have been dealt with. Were they guilty or not? If they were guilty, what happened?
Just hold on for me. Let's take a listen to ACP David Eklu.
They were not repatriated because they were found guilty, but they were repatriated on administrative ground.
Now, let me get a clarification here. You indicated the last time that you were going to send a team to assist the UN investigations. Did you send that team?
Yeah, that team went there and did an assessment, but at the end of the day, it's the UN that conducts the investigation because they are under the UN rules. They were under the UN rules and regulations. So our only purpose of going there was to assess the situation and then assist the UN. So the investigations and all that still remains in the with the United Nations. Yeah. That they have not been found culpable, but under the UN rules and regulations, once you are cited for such a misconduct, the whole group will be affected. And so that's why 46 of them were repatriated on administrative grounds, pending final outcome of the UN investigations.
So now that they're in Ghana, what happens to them? Are you going to continue the investigations?
The UN will conduct their investigations and share their report with us. And if those who were found culpable will have to be punished, yes, it will be done. But for now, they are back in the country and they will be deployed as police officers doing their normal duties until we hear from the United Nations.
So, Mr. Bona, we heard ACP David Eklu saying that they have been deployed as normal.
He said they would be.
Right.
They have been and they would be. But the language is different. They would be. They would be means that just like I'm just going back to the fact that the information I have has to do with they are undergoing debriefing. And so, I mean, I haven't contradicted myself. They would be deployed. I believe that just like I did allude to the fact that the UN is very slow when it comes to investigating some of these issues. It is everywhere. We know. I mean, you can mention countries where some of these things were suspected to have happened and it took ages. And so when the report is not concluded, how do you, for me, I would say that, so are they going to be interdicted for, you know, something that what if they are interdicted and it comes out? So for me, I think that they should undergo the debriefing. That should be that is the standard practice anyway, internationally. Once that is done, you are sent back to post. But when the report comes and you are guilty, then I believe that those who are guilty would be punished. And probably the UN itself would come in and, you know, specify some punishment for them. You know, if you are guilty and it warrants you going to jail, you go to jail. Right. And so, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Adam Bona. Adam Bona is a security analyst. Now, let's move on to some other news. The Ghana Armed Forces has suspended 3 soldiers within the anti-Galamsey Task Force Operation Vanguard. The soldiers are reported to have connived with certain individuals to extort monies from illegal miners. A statement from the military said the accused officers have been placed under arrest while investigations continue into their conduct. Detailed investigations are being conducted into the case and stern disciplinary action would be taken against them if found culpable. Portions of the statement read. Now, Squadron Leader Omane is PR Officer for Operation Vanguard, and he's just joined me on the line. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Omane.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Right, so we are told that 3 officers have been arrested. What happens to them now?
As the press release stated, they have been sent to the 2nd Battalion of Infantry in Tapade. They have been put under close arrest there. For now, investigations are going on, so we will restrict ourselves to what the press release said.
Now, can you walk us through the process? After this, what happens to them?
When they are found culpable, then we will deal with them. When they are found culpable, then we are going to deal with them. You see, for now, it's an allegation. So I will restrict myself to what the press release is saying.
Okay. But how does the military deal with them, deal with such situations? So, for instance, what is likely to happen to them if found culpable?
We have our rules and regulations, so they will be dealt with.
And these are not for public consumption, the rules and regulations?
Now, let's restrict ourselves to what the press release just said.
Right, so we've been speaking with Squadron Leader Omani, who is the PR officer for Operation Vanguard. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
This septic tank you see over here serves this community, the Sakumono community, and it is full. You could see how it's overflowing. When it rains, the people living around this area will not breathe because of the scent it comes that emanates from this manhole. One day there will be an outbreak of cholera here. We are pleading on other authorities to come and help. This is Andrew Donko reporting from Sakumono.
So that was your citizen journalist Andrew Donko reporting from Sakumono. Thank you very much. Now you can also send your videos via the number 055-1433-044, 055-1433-044. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Do stay with us. Well, welcome back. An agribusiness expert, Fatima Ali Mohammed, has suggested farmers should be made shareholders in the factories that would be set up under the One District, One Factory initiative. This, she explained, will guarantee raw material supply to prevent the collapse of the factories, as witnessed before in the country.
Fatima Ali Mohammed was of the view the essence of the One District, One Factory should not only be to put up factories and other facilities, but make farmers feature prominently in the scheme of affairs.
The way I see it and the way to be able to take us a leap forward is to ensure that the farmer becomes a part of that factory. By this, I mean by them having a shareholding and being stakeholders. It's not just being a supplier, because ultimately supply is always dependent on demand. It's going to be dependent on the price availability of the product, and farmers can choose to sometimes short sell themselves, sometimes they can outsell themselves in terms of pricing. So the success of that business can only work with him also being participant to it, so he can then know that anything that he does has a role to its profitability.
She indicated guaranteed prices for farmers is key to sustain the factories. The agribusiness expert noted proposals for One District, One Factory must emphasize the need for storage facilities, as this will serve as an incentive for farmers to increase production. Fatima Ali Mohammed indicated challenges of power, infrastructure and proper financing of the rail sector will have to be addressed in Ghana's attempt to industrialize.
This is crucial. In fact, it is fundamental to anything else, because we know what our infrastructure is like. It's not only prevalent to Ghana, it's prevalent across Africa. Transportation from one place to the other is a key factor. So logistics are an issue. So how can we ensure that different areas have specific storages that are able to take in all this crop and be able to move it to the next value chain?
Agribusiness can be the engine of Ghana's structural transformation while creating decent agriculture and non-agricultural jobs, increasing income, feeding the country and alleviating poverty.
Meanwhile, the agribusiness expert and chief executive officer of African brand warrior Fatima Ali Mohammed has noted the need for policies to reverse the importance of agriculture produce into the country. Currently, Ghana's market size for rice is 900,000 tons annually. However, the country produces only 150,000 tons to 175,000 tons for rice per year.
Ghana imports between 725,000 and 750,000 tons of rice annually. The country loses in excess of $500 million every year through the importation of foreign rice. Rice consumption grew from 17.5 kg per capita in 1999 to 38 kg per capita in 2008 and is expected to reach 63 kg per capita by the end of 2018. The country is only importing what it can export. Agribusiness expert and chief executive officer of African brand warrior Fatima Ali Mohammed noted the need for policies to reverse the importation of agricultural produce.
We're talking about a 900,000 ton market size in terms of consumption in totality. But at the same time, we're only producing around 150 to 175,000 locally, which means the balance is all being imported.
The agribusiness expert, however, stated there are various challenges that come to play in the sector that need to be overcome.
So the various challenges that come into play, obviously one is land. It's not that the availability is an issue, but in terms of understanding how to work with the chiefs in those various areas. Secondly is the water availability, because there are those that require downstream water, there are those that need irrigation. So you have to ensure that you choose the ideal land for it.
Increasing production may be one of the solutions to achieving rice self-sufficiency. Improving quality to increase demand for domestic rice. Quality rice that is capable of competing favorably with the imported variety seems to be the sustainable solution. Fatima Ali Mohammed indicated Ghana has the potential to export rice.
If you look at the kind of rice that grows in Ghana, most of it tends to be parboiled. Parboiled is something that is used mainly in Nigeria. Ghanaians would love to eat more of the fragrant rice, so we need to develop a lot more of that as well.
Drivers of success in the rice value chain in Asia that could be learnt and adapted in Ghana include the professionalization of value chain actors, strong farmers organizations, the use of high-yielding varieties and mechanization, credit support system, the creation of market outlets for domestic production, quality assurance mechanisms, branding and promotional activities.
Now, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has urged government to adequately support the cocoa sector. Now, speaking at the Maiden Green Ghana lecture series here in Accra, he reminded stakeholders cocoa remains the backbone of the economy and requires massive investments.
The Green Ghana lecture series is to create a platform to dialogue and chart a new path in the agro-business. The event, organized by the Cocoa Farmers Union, was also to commemorate the 25th anniversary celebration of the Kiapa Cocoa Initiative. The former President John Agyekum Kufuor expressed concern over challenges confronting the sector.
Today, Ghana produces up to 800,000 tons of premium cocoa annually, second globally only to Cote d'Ivoire. This combination of history and economic reputation, now as a lower middle income country, places cocoa at the center of the Ghanaian agricultural identity.
The Chief of Staff, Prima Osei Opare, expressed government's determination to ensure sustainable growth in the cocoa industry.
The government of Ghana is committed to negotiating favorable terms with World Cocoa Foundation and the International Cooperation on Cocoa towards improved and stable pricing for Ghana's cocoa.
Joining the dialogue via Skype, Special Advisor to the UN Secretary General, Professor Jeffrey Sars, outlined the prospects of leveraging on ICT to attract and empower the youth in agric. President of the Kiapa Cocoa Farmers Union, Madam Fatima Ali, encouraged more women to venture into farming. Persons who have played leadership and governance roles in the sector were honored.
That's all for business this afternoon, but let's take a look at one of our top stories this afternoon as the spare parts dealers at Swami Magazine in Kumasi have accused their Nigerian counterparts of taking over their business. Now, the Ghanaian traders claim the foreigners sell their spare parts cheap on the local market because they manage to get their goods into the country without paying appropriate taxes.
I can tell you that the allegation is, I don't know how to qualify it, but it's nowhere to be found because Ghanaians, as we all know here, they do buy from the census where we buy. They do buy from Nigeria. And the same way we bring in our goods is the same way they also bring in their goods. We also do buy from China and other countries, India and other places. And they also buy from there. And the same way we bring in our goods is the same way they also bring in their goods. So if they're saying this, though, if someone is bringing in his goods illegally, we don't know about that. We as a union, we don't know. And I believe if law catch that person, you have a question to answer. It's not our concern.
What is the relationship between NUTAG, that is the Nigerian Union Traders Association of Ghana, and that of GUTA?
Our relations are very cordial. We Nigerians, when you come to magazine, precisely as you said, we have a lot of Ghanaians who are members of GUTA. We are very, very free. And we do transact business. We supply them. Even some of them who are big importers, they do travel like China, bring in goods. Our people also buy from them. So our relationship are very cordial. That is what I can say.
So this was actually the Nigerian Union Traders Association of Ghana refuting claims of taking over the spare parts business due to reduced prices. Now, that was the first national vice chairman of NUTAG, Chief Kizoto Obiora. So now let's look at the earlier story where the spare parts dealers at Swami Magazine in Kumasi accused their Nigerian counterparts of taking over their business.
Concerns that some Nigerians are taking over their businesses because the price or the unit cost of their spare parts are cheaper than what the Ghanaian spare part dealers sell on the open market. So this means that they are throwing the Ghanaian business spare part dealers out of business. I have a public interest advocate here who is championing that the government should do something about it.
There are a lot of complaints. You know, I have visited a lot of shops and they are saying that their businesses are collapsing because Nigerians' businesses are going up. Why? Because their prices are very low as compared to that of Ghanaian businesses. So I think it is better for the government to take a firm decision to help these businesses of Ghanaians grow. When businesses in Ghana or businessmen take loans into their businesses, you know the interest rate is high as compared to that from Nigeria and elsewhere. Their interest rates are virtually free. So when they are competing, of course, their goods will be low as compared to Ghanaians.
You are a GUTA vice chairman. What is GUTA doing about some Nigerians taking over the spare parts business as well?
We are doing so much. We've been in constant meeting with the government. And as I'm talking to you, tomorrow, Thursday, I'm leaving here for Accra. The Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry has formed a committee to ensure that we go out to the dealers, the foreigners who are operating illegally here. Then we are going to go shop by shop, check their status here, and we will make sure everybody is complying with the rules. The truth is, no Nigerian people bring their goods through our normal ports and harbors. They don't do it. What they do is they take the goods to Nigeria, they offload them there, then they load them to articulated trucks and bring them here. And most of the goods, they even bring them as scrap goods. So they pay less, and when they do the borders, they're able to manage their way and get the goods through here.
You heard me speak with the vice chairman of GUTA, who is calling men to ensure that goods that are coming in from Nigeria that are labeled scrap are really or thoroughly investigated or searched to see that they are really scrap. Some come in with spare parts and they sell them at cheaper prices at the expense of the local spare part dealers, that is the Ghanaian spare part dealers, and they think this is not going on well for their businesses. Beatrice Piogabra, TV3 News, Swami.
So that was Beatrice Piogabra in Kumasi. Now, her life was turned upside down when disaster struck at the fuel station just next door to her family house at Kwame Nkrumah Circle on June 3, 2015. 3 years later, Auntie Mary, a trader who now sells iced water near the accident site, has nothing but tears to shed as she recalls losing one of her 4 children, an 18-year-old daughter, to the tragedy.
Over 100 people died, while hundreds were left with various degrees of injuries. On that fateful day, Auntie Mary, a trader who now sells iced water in front of her now incinerated house, narrated how she jumped from the balcony of a burning building, injuring her left hip. She laments as difficult as losing her home and a daughter was. Her nightmare continued in the aftermath of that day's event.
Omo meska no satam ne yaro hospital nti akone abadi no ma hu hwe nti skana na omo abeyi body ne edekoye no omo disi no ento ma body ne koye kra me kra ntumi anko hu ne ni omo ma 10,000 no ana omo de bi fa ambulance e de bi to adaka de ye eyi
Nti sa 10,000 each in shema bi
me pa cho dem
na o ma no mo hwehwe na de ne de shema form
sanka bibia
na o ma na ka no hu omo de
me pa cho nkola na nam se minti me hwe omo se de na me hwe omo nti omo ne number sabasaitu omo titi nkrofo nche
nti hefa na wo pote hefa na wo da
me ne kuma ba ko ye be hwedwa wo dua na se ye tonzo nti sade sa yetimi koda ekwan no VIP station ho ana say overhead na se yetimi de akonwa si ho bench ne adaso.
The assemblyman for the Odona Sahara area, Kina Hendricks, laments that although many victims were left with physical injuries, the psychological harm caused have not been dealt with. The people you've encountered so far, have any of them been seen by like a counselor or psychologist?
No, nobody. None of them, apart from when they came out of the hospital, none of them has been visited by any psychologist. And that is what they need most, because as they are here, if somebody can see you and be happy, then you know then there is something wrong somewhere. Because when you are not there, you don't know what will happen.
Naomi Nanaya Ejare, Auntie Mary's 18-year-old daughter, told TV3 she is yet to have a good night's sleep following that day's incident.
Sometimes when I'm in class or when we are at the dormitory, when someone shouts or when it's raining, I got scared. And maybe I think something is coming, that's why the person is shouting. So sometimes when I'm even asleep, I go wake. Now my condition is very bad to the extent that I can't even stay in school. So I need their help and their support to support us.
Many victims, like Auntie Mary, feel they have been left to their fate with no hope of respite in sight anytime soon.
This is Midday Live on TV3. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has been forced out of office by a no-confidence vote in Parliament. Socialist leader Pedro Sanchez, who filed the motion after Mr. Rajoy's party was implicated in a corruption scandal, will become Prime Minister.
Ahead of Friday's vote, Mr. Sanchez said a new page in the history of Spain's democracy is going to be signed. Mr. Rajoy is the first Prime Minister in modern Spanish history to be defeated in a no-confidence motion. The leader of the Conservative People's Party has been Prime Minister since 2011. During the second day of debate on Friday, Mr. Rajoy admitted facing defeat and told MPs that it has been an honor to leave a better Spain than he found it. Mr. Sanchez secured a majority in the vote after gaining support from various smaller parties, including the Basque Nationalist Party, with 180 MPs backed the motion. Mr. Sanchez secured a majority in the vote after gaining support from various smaller parties, including the Basque Nationalist Party, as 180 MPs backed the motion, 169 voted against, and 1 abstention. Mr. Sanchez says Mr. Rajoy, 63, had failed to take responsibility for his party's involvement in the scandal, which hit the headlines again last week after one of its former treasurers was given a 33-year jail sentence. Many Spanish voters, exasperated by corruption scandals involving the traditional centre-right PP and centre-left socialist parties, have abandoned them for newcomers like the left-wing We Can and pro-market Citizens, as well as regional parties.
Up next is entertainment. So how can creative artists make the best of opportunities that exist within the arts industry? Now, creators have been urged to engage the right professionals to market and distribute their works. Addressing a music business dialogue, speakers again called for proper orientation, investment and legislation to ensure creative artists are well compensated for their works.
Organized by Media General, the Ghana Tourism Authority and the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry, the seminar provided insight on how owners of creative works can maximize their potential and make the best of opportunities within the sector. Showbiz analyst and manager of MG Digital, Francis Doku, called for an end to the practice of engaging inexperienced friends as managers and promoters.
I think what we haven't done very well in our market is the fact that we don't rely on people who know these things to help us to be able to do it. Our creative people would want to do everything from one stage to the other, from where they do the product itself to where how they market, how they promote it, and how they market it, and then how they sell it. There should be some way that they will rely on managers, agents, and people who would help promote their work in order for it to get to where it should.
General Manager of Mobile Content, Conrad Nier, is convinced showbiz is a multi-million-dollar industry calling for the right policies and structures to adequately reward practitioners.
We have a National Media Commission. We have a National Communication Authority. In the streets, we have all manner of people, music, Gamro, who should be able to open up their eyes and monitor these things. Other countries are doing it. Why are we not doing it? If you go to YouTube, not everybody's video that you can watch because they've restricted the video to certain countries because they pay for it. All the opportunities that are there, you need to understand the whole ecosystem and then push for something to be done Ghanaian to benefit the Ghanaians who are the owners of the content. Otherwise, you are lost.
Ibrahim Ohenejan, CEO of Ohene Media, has worked with many top Ghanaian musicians and organizations, monetizing their content for them.
And there's so many things which are missing. Lawyers, training of lawyers in media law, and managers, accountants, people who can help with the business aspect of it, legislation, software people that can create the innovative software to distribute our material in the modern world.
Reggie, a member of music duo Reggie and Boli, underscored the need for musicians to engage promoters if they are to make inroads.
When you have the song out, your distributor takes it and then they pitch to YouTube or Vivo and say, this is Reggie and Boli's new single, have a look at this video and tell us how much impressions you'd like to give. So then Vivo will have a look and say, we give you 5 million impressions or 1 million impressions. So the moment the video goes live, everyone who is on YouTube begins to see suggested video. That is what happens. Do you know what I mean? But if we are in Ghana and we don't have distributors who are pushing the songs, we're just going to be pushing the song to ourselves. So then it won't go anywhere.
The Media General's music business dialogue was attended by musicians, artist managers and promoters. They described the seminar as a great learning curve and looked forward to more of such insightful engagements.
Seminar. Okay, well, first and foremost, I think it was a very good one. Looking at we putting out content freely, artists releasing singles on top of singles without monetizing it, people downloading it for free, some people selling our songs without our knowledge, I think it has brought so much light, not to me alone, but to everybody in the industry. And also looking at the way forward, how artists can make money, from their creativity. I think that there have been a clear light shown on that. Yeah.
So me, what I would say, in my point of view is, we the musicians, we the artists, they should take things serious and let's join forces together to make these things work, because it's a good point they are bringing.
Industry is the structures. It's a structure that allow a musician for his music to be protected. So corporate institutions of Ghana have got their say. It is time for them to wake up from their air-conditioned office, come out and protect musicians' work from being pirated. Because when you create, it comes out and it's being pirated. When you create, it comes out, it's being pirated. What energy would you have to go to the studio and spend large sums of money to protect your work again? That is it. Gamro should do their work, go out there and tax radio and TV stations to collect royalties from them and share to the desired owners. You understand?
And that's it for entertainment news and also Midday Live on TV3. For more on the stories you've seen and other stories, please go to 3news.com. My name is Efua Tiego. Good afternoon.